are you going to make the start of the GGR?
Am I going to make the start? Well, the start is July 1st, and this is April 24th, and I am still Oyster Bay, New York. Obviously, I will do my best. The scheduled departure is Saturday, July 28th. So just for safety, we are heading towards Bermuda with my team manager, and from Bermuda I am planning to sail solo the leftover 3,000 miles to Southampton and Falmouth. So I'm hoping, of course, depending on mainly God, I hope I will make it.
Okay, just going to adjust this a little bit. All right, question 2. What has been your biggest frustration so far?
Well, biggest frustration is preparing for the race generally, but especially the last term, which is the last couple months, has been really crazy. I don't blame obviously the race management or the founder, because it's a pioneer project for them too. We have been learning this together, and needless to say, as the race start was placed to France, everything became more bureaucratic, more strict regarding requirements, and French maritime authorities are very demanding. So I understand the cautiousness of the race management, but it became I'm pretty sure that if the first Golden Globe race in 1968 is run the same way, there is no Golden Globe race. I mean, it has been very frustrating to comply with the last minute changes, financially, physically, generally. It's just too much, even just the communication itself.
Number 3, excluding anything that GGR organizer may supply, what Super 8 filming and 35mm photographic equipment are you taking, and have you practiced with it?
Right, video, filming, camera, no. The question is, my answer is pretty short. I didn't practice, I had no time for it. I have been in this project, I'm in the race prep full time since 2015, mainly focusing on the boat, but the last couple of months mainly focusing on the race requirements to get the green card and be an official entrant is very demanding. Filming is obviously, I try to comply with the requirements, so I just purchased in the last minute, actually just picked up my GoPro from Amazon. Actually the Amazon delivered it, but it's still in box. In the old days, long time ago, yes, I worked with 35mm films. Obviously I am not a cameraman, but I think I can handle it. This is my list. At least it's really right now, before crossing the Atlantic Ocean. I think it's not my high priority.
Number 4, how many cassette tapes do you plan on taking, and what type of music, and what books?
Tapes and books. Well, it's prepared already. I have roughly 100 tapes in the old 60s, 70s, 80s. I purchased most of the tapes when I was commercial at the Merchant Mariner, and in Singapore and overseas and everywhere. So luckily I I saved these tapes, so I went through them. I spent an hour, maybe two, selecting by their condition and by my taste, of course. The same with the books. Unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, I have too many books and I like to read, but nowadays I just read the fine print in the race requirements, so I am looking forward to read real books. I take my of course Bible, Lord of the Flies, all kind of classic. I like to read about the great human beings in our history, so I take those books. But I am sorry, but I have been so distracted by the departure. I really don't have, I cannot redirect my thoughts to reply for this question properly.
Number 5, how many sets of wet weather gear and boots will you have, and what about toilet paper? How many rolls?
Alright, I take 0 roll of toilet papers. I hope this is pretty brief. And as for the weather gear, it's just make sure that there is no misunderstanding. I like to be clean, so I wash myself. So that's for the toilet paper. Toilet paper is dangerous in boating as for the use of the head. So as for the weather gear, right now I take my old weather gears, nothing new. I have a promise. Heli Hansen, the Hungarian distributor, promised me a set, so hopefully I will get it in France. We shall see.
Okay, number 6, what is your secret weapon to finish or win the GGR?
My secret weapons? Well, I think half a century of experience, skills, and so which came unfortunately with aging, but I just try to be well prepared, and one of the reasons I am so frustrated right now because the so-called safety requirements, I think, redirected us from the real safety. So we are focusing on paperwork, liabilities, responsibilities, and make sure that everyone is covered who is involved in this race, instead of focusing on our sense, our experience, and focusing on the hands-on things on the boat. So I hope God will appreciate my input, my investment, physically, financially, time-wise, and that's the secret weapon, I guess.
Number 7, you can send up to 450 character text messages a day to your team. How many will you send?
I don't know. The short answer, I don't know. I didn't have the time to think about it. So it's, I just got the satellite phone, the yellow brick tracking device. I am happy that we were able to install it electronically, and hopefully it's working. But actually how to handle it, how to manage it, I hope during the crossing the ocean, weather depending of course, I will have time for that and learn about it.
Number 8, what will you use to wake yourself up and stop oversleeping?
Well, I will be using just the old-fashioned alarm clock. to wake myself up. However, during the crossing, obviously right now I can use digital clocks as well, and even my phone. But in the race, I just go back to the old school. Actually, I just purchased a new travel clock, so I have a backup, and that's it.
Number 9, describe the food you plan on taking, and what about alcohol?
Well, I wish I could follow Sir Robin Knox Johnston's pattern regarding the spirit supply. Unfortunately, I just don't have the money for it, and even the space is very limited. So I got really lucky, of course, in the last minute, and I got the chance to hook up with two very nice, very generous US food supplier. One of them is pretty much manufacturing the old-fashioned pemmican, which is an Indian invention, pretty much a dry ground beef or different meat, of course, can be, and it looks like in a foil, it looks like a hot dog, but seemingly is able to be unperishable without any serious preservation. And so that's one of the calorie source. And the Vital Choice company is making organic fish products, sardines, mackerel, salmon, and they were also very generous and sponsored me with their wide variety of products. And finally, just a couple days ago, Balance of Nature, Dr. Howard, supplying me with supplements, which is obviously the real fruit and vegetables, and I have big hopes. Maybe this is the secret weapon.
Number 10, any regrets about joining the Golden Globe family?
Well, no. It's a big challenge again to comply with the race requirements, but there are very committed, very unique characters in this group among the competitors and in the race management. The founder himself, but it's a really big challenge to put this project together.
All right. Number 11, what do you think is the most likely thing that could stop you from finishing the race, and are you trying to solve that?
Well, act of God, pretty much. And of course...
Wait, sorry, I'm going to stop you there. If you could just repeat
Okay.
Because they like if you repeat the question. So, most likely thing that could stop you from finishing the race, and how are you trying to solve that?
Right. Well, the only thing I hope can stop me is the act of God, which of course includes my health and any weather-related issues. Not to mention that there are several dangers in this race: collision with freighter, absolutely hurricane or running aground. But I will do my best to finish, obviously.
All right, number 12. Describe your sleeping arrangement for the cold and hot, and are you fitting a safety belt in your bunk of knockdowns or in case of a 360 rollover? Sorry, 360 degree rollover.
Right. So the sleeping pattern, usually in the tropical zone, I try to stay below the deck during the day. And be active during the night. And usually I like this kind of unique rhythm, because solo sailing obviously has the disadvantage of the one-person management. So the night is usually the more risky period of the day. So I'd like to be more vigilant and active during the night. As for securing myself in the cabin, well, it's a concern for me that this boat, the Tradewind, doesn't have that so-called coffin bunk, which is usually one of the sides in the cockpit under the deck. And I like that arrangement because the ceiling is just a couple inches away, so when you pitch pole you cannot fly too far. In this boat, the salon ceiling, I mean, it's pretty roomy, and so I think I might have a kind of net above me in the really rough weather. I don't know it yet. I will figure this out.
Number 13, who or what has been the biggest driving force or assistance getting you to the start line?
Right now, the biggest driving force that I invested just too much in this project, the boat building itself, and then provisioning the boat, time-wise, labor-wise, money-wise, and the other thing is that I had more and more followers and supporters and friends and helpers, and now I feel as a responsibility not to let them down. Right now I think maybe this is the biggest motivation to show up at the start and finish.
Alright, number 14, the GGR is established in Les Sables d'Olonne, France now. What do you think about that?
Yeah, the French start and finish is it has obviously disadvantages, but I think it was a good move. One of the disadvantages, obviously, the much stricter, much more bureaucratic race rules or requirements. However, the place Les Sables d'Olonne is very charming. It's a real harbor. It's a real. The people are really nice. The landscape, the environment is really attractive, and I think it's a perfect place for an offshore event like the Golden Globe race. It's unfortunately nothing is perfect, so obviously the more demanding race requirements is obviously not so great.
Alright, number 15, what special thing or lucky charm are you taking with you for the journey?
Well, I try to take with me my favorite pieces like this Sunto compass, for example. This has been with me since 1990, actually 1989. We have this behind the life raft. The ship bell, that's also the same date, goes back to 1989. I have a cross behind your back, Robert, which was given by the original boat owner, his widow, Johanna, and of course I have my special amulets from my wife, my daughters. So I have a bunch of it.
All right, so last question. How are you going to how are you going to feel leaving the marina in Les Sables d'Olonne on start day?
I am looking forward to it. That's how I feel. Right now it looks so far, but at the same time, time-wise, it's so close. But then I need to sail pretty much 4,000 miles to get there. So with a kind of unknown boat, it will be an interesting voyage.